What's up guys, it's Rolf, and in today's video I'm going to try and explain the absolute fundamentals of trading. This is going to be the first part of a whole series of YouTube videos I'm going to make, working from the basics to relatively advanced things. I want to build up like a long playlist of these videos so that if you have questions about trading, you can just refer to these these videos here. For this first video, I'm going to explain the basic of how trading works. So, we all know that an item has a value on the Steam market. The price of the item is decided by the community and is affected by supply and demand. Now, in practice in CSGO trading, keys, which are normally used to unlock cases, are used as the currency. This is because they tend to be very stable and are accepted as payment by all traders. For the purpose of the video, I want you to imagine a key as a $2.5 coin, sort of like the currency of trading. So let's say, for example, an item on the market, like I don't know, some assorted item is worth X dollars. Then to convert this into a full market price in keys, you'd do X dollars divided by 2.5, and that would give you the full market price of an item in keys. Now, since we're starting from basics, I'm only going to refer to items that are worth market, so not stuff that has a special pattern or a low flow. Now, in practice in the trading world, if an item is worth the market price, it's normally traded at a value slightly under this. This discount is because people prefer to accept keys instead of selling on the Steam community market or on OP skins because they avoid fees that way. So, it's a key point. Items are not sold for full market price in keys unless they are better than average. So now the question is, if you're looking to get into trading, where do I get keys? Now, there are four options for this. The first and probably easiest way is to buy from Steam directly, either through the CSGO game or alternatively just on the Steam market. But this will cost more. This is the most costly way of getting keys, and also it will require you to wait 7 days before you can make any trading due to just Steam limits. The second option is to buy from OP skins. Keys from here are cheaper than Steam and instantly tradable, meaning there's no waiting, so you can start trading immediately. The third option is to use some trustworthy Bitcoin key bot, such as like Keywender. I'll link it below these. If you know how to use Bitcoin or you use it already, it's probably the cheapest and easiest way for you to get keys without any risk of getting scammed. Now, it's cheaper than OP skins, like I said, but there is another cheaper way, which is to buy from other traders at a peer-to-peer level. But unless you sort of already know your way around in terms of cash rep and how to see whether someone is a scammer or not, I don't really recommend this. Now, the most important thing to do is deciding what to buy. Now, the answer for this varies from trader to trader. The most successful traders tend to find a niche in the market. They become experienced and knowledgeable on the prices of specific items or groups of items. Famous examples of this are like stickered guns and case hardens, but you can also find your niche trading Dopplers. To find your niche, I would suggest just buying skins you like. It's a lot easier to trade something you like because it's easier for you to find positive points about the items, and that's important because when you find these positive points and you talk about them when trading, it makes it a lot easier to get overpaid because it's a lot easier to convince a potential buyer that it is in fact worth what you're saying it is because of these positive things. It's a lot easier to convince them if you yourself like the skin. So if you're trading something you just think is shit, you're unlikely to be like, oh, you know, yeah, I can't think of anything good to say about this skin, and then they're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna buy it then at your price because even you don't like it. Now, once you decide what you want to buy, you need to spend some time researching the prices of these items and how they range. I'll address this in depth in a video on price checking skins later, but in general, just search for threads on Reddit and search for the items you want to know to be skins. You need to gather knowledge, and to do this you need to just collect a huge amount of data on these prices. You need to know how much specific versions of items sell for, so like lower floats, better patterns. You need to know what they all sell for. The knowledge is what will let you spot when an item is a good deal on Reddit or on OP skins, or when you're just talking to someone. And once you find your niche, then you'll know all the prices, and you'll be able to follow your gut, because your gut is just, I guess, sort of your brain vaguely remembering all of that information you've already acquired. So now let's say you've bought your items. Now, a lot of people expect to be able to list them on Reddit or on OP skins or just put it on their profile, and then when it doesn't sell, they complain about how trading is dead. It's just stupid. You have to actively market your item. You need to be searching out for buyers. You need to be actively pushing to make deals. If you want to sell something for profit, you have to invest your time to find buyers for the item, and this can be done in a few ways. The first place you can try and sell your items is Global Offensive Trade. Now, I'm sure there are other forums out there, but this is the one I'm most familiar with, and the one that I think is the best for most traders. Now, this is a peer-to-peer trading forum, and that means you're going to be talking to other traders directly. Now, when selling your items, you should firstly create your own threads. You should include very nice screenshots, format it very, very nicely, but that shouldn't be all you do on Reddit. You should also be reading other people's threads. You should be scrolling through. You shouldn't just try and sell your item. You should try and make deals for other people's items using your items as payment. So let's say you have 2 knives and there's some other guy on Reddit has like one nicer knife. You want to be flexible. You want to be able to make a trade that includes going and taking his knife as payment for your knives. And you can't just be really anal about like only accepting liquid keys or liquid items for your item as payment. You have to be flexible in order to make profit. Some of the most profitable trades are just items to items, not just items to keys. Another way of trading is on trade servers. A good example is of Alias Trade. There you can sort of go into the server and talk to people, like voice chat with traders. It's like being in-game. Now, the good thing about this is every time you talk with someone in a trading server, the likelihood is they're looking to trade actively. Like, people just list stuff on Reddit in the hopes that it sells at high buyouts whilst they still use their skins, but people on trade servers tend to be motivated sellers. Now, with trade servers, the same thing applies again. You need to be willing to accept their items as payment for your items. You just need to be able to know if it's a good deal or not. And again, that requires knowledge, and you need to look into prices. And the great thing about trade servers is not just trading, you can also learn things from them. You can learn about trading techniques, you can learn about the pricing of items. You just need to be like a sponge and absorb everything you hear, because even if only 10% of it is really useful knowledge, that's 10% more that you'll get. The last method of trading your items is on OP skins. When I was trading actively, if I was going to go to bed, I'd just list my items on OP skins. The reason being, you can never accept a trade whilst you're asleep, but you can have something sell on OP skins whilst you're asleep, and it will sell for buyout. It's not a negotiable thing on OP skins, so there's really no disadvantage to putting your item on OP skins overnight. The last basic thing I want to go over in this video is networking. When you discuss a trade with another trader, always make an effort to be nice and chill. Even if you don't work out a deal with this person, you might make a deal with them in the future. It's always good to have a good relationship with another trader, because this positive impression of you might make something else happen in the future. You should in turn reciprocate this behavior. You should help out other people. You should make sure that you feel obligated to help people who have helped you. This is firstly just common decency, but also each positive act you make, even a relatively selfless one, can be viewed into an investment into your trader profile. Sort of like, if someone looks at you and their friend says, "Oh, I know that guy, he's a cunt," then immediately there's a negative bias in their head. They're like, okay, I'm less likely to make a deal. Whereas if they're like, "Oh, he's a nice guy, he's pretty chill," immediately it's a lot more likely that they're going to make a deal with you. If you guys have any specific comments about this, feel free to ask them in the comments below, or a better way of asking them is to come to my Twitch stream. I stream on Twitch daily at 7 PM GMT UK time. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Also, I'm going to take this time to mention that I'm giving away a butterfly knife tiger tooth on Twitter. Feel free to enter that giveaway below as well.